Now we're finally live. I had some beets. I had some bell peppers. And I have some beet greens. I think I want to turn my beet greens into like part of a smoothie. But anyway, I was thinking about baking the beets, but I feel really tired and I have to get up early. So I don't really want to bake them. So this is what I want to do. I'm going to do my other favorite little thing that I do with beets. I'll microwave them. Oh yes. And some other veggies. That's my plan, Mr. Stone. That's part of that. So, and in the trash it goes. Hey, you can't even see what I'm doing. Ay, ay, ay. In the trash that goes. Might have to drink some more coffee in a bit to perk up. Like the last time I made beets in 2020, I just roasted them. But I'm going to kind of chop this all up a little bit. Chop everything a little bit fine. Chop that. Sometimes a bad part to it. Once I'm done chopping, I'm gonna rinse everybody off. Give everybody a bath because I'm gonna turn the beet greens into a smoothie. That's my plan. So they can just go like kind of separating everything and put them into the blender. They're gonna be smoothie time. I've done that before. Actually, beet greens are really good in a smoothie because they're sweet. It works really well. Works really, really well. Look at this. You can turn it into liquid and it can become blush. I think I'm just like, oh. Anyway, I had some potatoes too. I needed to. How about I don't break out from putting beets on my skin? I don't know. Yeah, I just didn't feel like turning on the oven, and the microwave's a little bit faster, so I think I'm just gonna microwave them. This part's kind of hard. I'm not gonna keep that. Okay, so if you want to have like some blush, you just ah. I've done that with pomegranate too. I'm really be tired, but I'm not tired. It's a mixture today. This part I don't really want to eat these too hard. Okay, I'm gonna rinse this one off. Need the bath severely. The green part's getting a little, not the best looking, but hey, why not? Put in the blendy. Okay. Could be a beet top. I'm gonna microwave them in trips. Mmm. 8 minutes. I just didn't want to pull out the oven. Now we're going to use the greens to make a smoothie. Yeah, don't fall there. No. Fingers off. Choke on them. If I break out because of the beef, so rubbing it all over my face. I did that before one time. With real makeup. My sister was kind of sad once, so I said, I'm going to be a clown. And I put blush all over my face. I was kind of sorry a day later. That was just a breakout town. It didn't make me happy. You have to make yourself happy. You have to think of funny things to do or just silly things. Oh, funny story. Okay. Funny story. Because I've been following what's going on in like Iran. It's very sad. Like the Western media is not talking about it. It's like, why does our news media not talk about things? It's because I hate to say it. You need to read international news sources or you need to go on social media to find things out because we definitely have a Western bias in our news media and we don't cover Middle Eastern topics, especially Iran, since the U.S. does not have diplomatic relations with Iran. But the people of Iran do not like that regime. Why aren't we covering this? Why aren't we talking about it more? The Western media has been crickets, like only mentioning a few things about it. So anyway, it's brutal. Everything happening in Iran is really brutal to the protesters. They want to get rid of the regime, and some of the people posting on social media, there was this one girl, like it was really like inspiring because she wore a skirt out on the streets of Tehran, and she said she had been at the protests, and I hope she's okay. I really do because there hasn't been any activity on that account for days, and that's just horrifying. But there was this other kind of, well, there's nothing really lighthearted in this story, but a little bit more lighthearted. It was talking about the Sandy's Corps, Sandy's. It's like a, I guess, an Iranian juice brand, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so if you went to one of the mullah like protests, like pro regime protests, they would give you a juice and a cake afterwards. And this Iranian woman commentator, like she's on TikTok, she's hilarious. She goes, they're Sandy's Corps, and now like the protesters are throwing juice boxes, I guess, at the pro regime people, and they're making juice box traps. So it's kind of symbolic, okay? It's kind of symbolic because I don't think anybody is gonna go take a juice box from their little trap. Um, it's kind of like mouse trap, but it's a juice box trap. But what I just thought was really, make sure it's on there. It's really tight, super tight. A little bit more. See, it is the color of beets though when you do it like this. So I'm gonna add more to it. And have some blueberries. Blue, blue, blue. So anyway, the mullahs were drinking juice boxes. Like there were all these pictures on TikTok of these mullahs drinking their little juice boxes, and I thought, God, they look like little toddlers. Like they're so out of touch with reality. They don't even like realize like how silly they look, just sipping on their juice box. But how repressive this Iranian regime is. I hope every country. Well, we don't have diplomatic relations with Iran. Part of the reason nobody's talking about it. Gosh, if you're Middle Eastern, I feel like you get it. I'm not Iranian, I'm part Syrian. But I feel like something about like Middle Eastern people, like we get it. Like I guess like I just have some affinity. Although when I did my like DNA tests, this was an interesting thing. Like I did one of the deeper DNA tests and it showed that I have some Balash, like southern. So like I think in the distant past for that admixture Balash to come up, like at one time I did have some ancestors who probably lived in southern Iran. I mean, even though I am Syrian and English, mostly my ancestry, but I just feel like I feel for them. Like I hope that they can get rid of this regime and they can have a democratically elected government. That would be great for them, you know. And I wish, like, so like the U.S. can close their embassies to Iran, but I think every other country should, and we should throw them out of the UN. They shouldn't be in the UN. Why are we letting them be in the UN? We should treat them as we treat North Korea. Will that stop them completely? Well, you know, if we just kind of sit by and we like let them go to the UN, like I don't think any Iranian official should be allowed to make a speech at the UN, be on any UN committee. They shouldn't even be in the UN. Like, why don't we put? We should. I know there's not a lot that we can do per se, but it's very scary when you see students. Why is the U.S. media not talking about this? Why is this not on the U.S. news more? Where they took students from a university that were protesting the regime and they were dragging them away to prison where they beat them to death. Okay, another story. And sometimes you have to look on social media to find this stuff out. A 14-year-old girl, okay, she was beaten to death in Iran because the state came to their school and inspected their textbooks, and she had ripped the picture of the Ayatollah in her textbook, and they beat her to death. It's sick, and it's so sick. Very upsetting. So I'm not Iranian, but I support the Iranian people, and I hope that they get what they deserve, their freedom. And by the way, if you want to know what's going on in Iran right now, you need to go on TikTok or Instagram. There's a few news stories on it, but you need to read like non-US media. Like you need to read German news stories, French news stories, British news stories. Can I be honest? Britain, France, Germany. They just have better news coverage than the US. The US has a very insular, like they're just talking about our election. That's another thing that really annoys me. Like every time you look at a post on Instagram or TikTok about what's happening in Iran, they keep mentioning the US elections, which has nothing to do with what's happening in Iran. Or they showed some people at a protest in an Iranian video, and they were like, there was some message on there. It was like, oh, yes, European news is much more worldly and better. And here's another thing too: they don't sensationalize, and you're not allowed to like just run a story over and over again into the ground. Like how much coverage? This is another thing that just eating me up about it is they just kept going on about the Johnny Depp trial, like on and on and on. But we can barely do a news story about these wonderful people that love freedom. They just want the freedom to make their own life choices. We can't even do like a news story about them on mainstream US news. Like maybe there's a couple, but not much. But their excuses, oh, their internet got turned off. But there's people that are using VPNs to post what they can. And I'm sorry, But this is why the young people, they go to TikTok and they go to Instagram, more so TikTok, to find out what's happening in the world, or even people my age, because I don't know. I don't need to sit at home and watch like a news program. I need to read the news. And yes, at least the European news agencies are covering it more. I don't know. I just like the US news agencies just really are limited, or they just want to talk about celebrity gossip, or we just want to talk about our own election, which how many times do we talk about our own election? That's the only thing. And oh, US leaders say that they care about what's happening in the world, but they're not saying much about it, are they? I mean, I get it. The US can't do a lot about it, but we could do something about it. We could be like, you know what? They can't come into the UN. I have feelings about it. That's all I was gonna say. But the mullahs are juice drinking toddlers. That's their mindset. They just want to drink the juice box. You know, like I mean, anyhow, that's all I wanted to say about that, because I'm not Iranian, but I just want to get the word out for Iranian people that you should go on social media if you want to know what's really going on, because they're just not really covering it. I guess we were just too busy talking about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and that was the most important story, I suppose, like, because yeah. Anyhow, more of that, I guess. Like, that's all anybody ever wants to hear about, I feel like, is, I know, next week, like, what's Gigi Hadid wearing? Or when it's her breakfast. Like, I don't know. It's so limited. It's really, it's limited. It really is. But, I mean, maybe NPR is talking about it more. I haven't looked at NPR lately, but for news lately, if I want to learn something about what's happening in Iran, I will look at a foreign news agency first. The French and German ones seem to be pretty good. You can use Google Translate, by the way. The British ones are okay. But then I've been looking at social media posts because the young people. You know what? I didn't grow up eating that. It sounds really good though. So my dad, he loves kibbeh. Um, but the kind of kibbeh he ate, and I don't really eat it because it has lamb in it, were the little kibbeh squares, because that's so cool. Like distantly, I think I have, because I was trying to figure out in 23andMe why Aleppo was one of the cities I was shown as having recent ancestry from. And I asked my cousin about it, and he said that I guess like one of my third or fourth great grandparents might have lived in Aleppo at one time. So I was looking, like, my closer ties though are to Mount Hermon, like, and Zahel and Bequa Valley. Bequa Valley. My dad's Bequa Valley. That's really the closest, like, ties. But I think distantly more Aleppo. But Aleppo has a really amazing community. That's so cool, so beautiful. You're named after that? I did not know that. That is so cool. Oh yeah, that's very cool. My name is Snare. Another name for Mount. See, that's so cool. Mount Hermon is so beautiful, right? I've never been there, but I kind of felt an affinity for it. Never been there though, but there's just something about it. When I see the pictures, it just feels like. And then I have like this really deep, like, interest in the Middle East and wanting to know more about the Middle East and connection to it, I guess. So, you know, but I'm glad that you got to see it and been there. That's really cool. What I would love to see, I hear like heard there's still like Byzantium jewelers. Yeah, I would love to go see places like that, but I just don't have the money to do it. It's great if you have the money to travel. That's wonderful. It's just not something I can afford to do, but I think that's good that you can do it. I wish I could. And I know people always are like, well, like, if you make time for it and you can do it this way and that. But yeah, it's not really like when you have to pay rent and bills, it just doesn't happen for me. But I think it's cool that you're doing that or have done it in the past anyway. I'm gonna puree this a little bit longer because I think it might still be. So the one dish that my dad ate the most, well, he ate the kibbe, but like the kibbe squares, and he also ate the yabra, and he loved lentils and raised the midara. Those were the ones that he ate the most of. So yeah. Ooh, this is like a very chunky smoothie, by the way. It's not smooth. You need to like put it. Mmm. Mm. It's very good though, but very, very, very chunky. It's good. I'm just gonna have a little bit of it, I think, right now though. Ooh. Oh, hear that pouring in? So this is like a beet green blueberry almond milk smoothie. Pretty awesome, actually. Kind of awesome. Mm. I just came up with it by myself right now because it's what I had in the fridge. Yep. So yeah, that's my little. Yeah, I do like it when I finally am eating more healthy-ish. No, I always eat healthy, but more to how I usually eat. Oh, I'm gonna do something fun with beets. I decided I'm going to give like I want to give it some interesting flavor. So I still have like some of this tahini. I love to clean. My hobby is cleaning. I'm doing laundry right now. Like if I have free time, I do my laundry, I clean my kitchen. I just love to clean because I start feeling very anxious if my house is not clean. Like I don't like the feeling of not being in a clean space. And I even want to do more cleaning. Like so for me, like I just have learned over the years, I really enjoy cleaning. I think it makes you feel better and also it's more hygienic. And one tip I have for like cleaning, by the way, this is like Israeli tahini that I found at Walmart. It just happened to be what they were selling. I need to go buy a bigger thing of tahini because this is like nothing. It was such a little baby one, but I'm just going to use this because I thought about putting some oil in it just to kind of. But I'm going to mix it with tahini. I think that's enough. I've never tried doing this before, but why not? I love tahini. Tahini is good. I made a tahini frosting once years ago for a cake. Tahini and some sugar and a little bit of water. It was amazing. Oh my gosh. That was one of my favorite cake frostings I've ever made. And it was just so good. So I put a little bit of that. And then I just have a little bit of Himalayan salt. I'm just going to have a tiny bit of salt just to season it a bit. And I think I have some like fresh garlic. I can find it, cut it up. But I'm just gonna put some of just a little bit of garlic from Costco. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it ended up kind of being like that. That's a good point. I need to make that one day. You know what I was thinking? Okay, because I don't eat meat. But I was thinking you could make phyllo dough or you can buy vegan phyllo dough and you can make like little like vegan type pies. I was thinking about doing that, like savory ones, not sweet. It doesn't have to be sweet, but it could be more savory. Okay. Ooh, this smells really good. Wow. I'm gonna cook it longer though, so it's more tender. And the pro tip for cooking in the microwave, it cuts down on cooking time in the oven, because the oven that would take a couple hours, and I don't have a couple hours tonight. I'm gonna put it up to 11 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna start loading up the dishwasher, friend. Have things in here already. I'm gonna mix around a bit so we can do a camera thing. My tip for cleaning is, oh yeah, I was gonna say that. So you can, if you don't want to, like I have paper towels that I use, but that's more like for wiping up things. Like I don't know, I use them, but it's more like for the floor or something. But in general, like for your counters, you can just buy washcloths. This is like a way that they actually work better, and you can just wash them with your regular laundry. And washcloths are great for just wiping down your kitchen, like with a little bit of warm water and soap, or vinegar, or I don't use really harsh chemicals. Like I use sometimes in the bathroom. I have started using Lysol more sometimes, but I don't really feel like I need to use it. Honestly, like I don't really feel like it's necessary. But just sometimes in the bathroom, I was noticing recently I was getting the toilet a little bit cleaner, a little bit wider. Like I don't know, you use Lysol, but I do love to clean. Like it's one of my hobbies. So I have a mega love for cleaning, guys. But it makes you feel better. Like when you clean, like I always dread it, but I always am like I have these big giant cleaning projects that I create for myself. And I'm like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I haven't really been getting to them as much as I wanted to. Like this weekend I did a little bit of cleaning. I did my laundry and whatnot. But I wanted to do more. I really did. I had so many goals and I didn't hit them all, but that's okay. That's okay. Now I'm just loading my little dishwasher. And put the cup all over it. Okay, you should have a good night then. Have a great night. Bye. I'm just gonna kind of load up the dishwasher because I feel like this is another tip for anybody is still watching right now. Another tip that I have is like load the dishwasher as you go. Like if you have a dishwasher, rinse off your dishes. I use a little bit of soap and water just to get them clean. Like, and then it gets them cleaner. Like, and then kind of push yourself to do more cleaning. And I've been like, I want to do more cleaning motivation videos. Like I've done a few before, but I want to do more, like more cleaning motivation and whatnot. But in one video that I was watching, this lady's her tip was, and this might help people, is to set a timer. I've never tried this before. I used to think that was lame, like, oh, I'm setting a timer for cleaning. Like, why would I do that? But I don't know. Now that I got older, I kind of feel like there's something to it. Because you set a timer, and you can kind of make it like, let's say you don't really love to clean, or you're like dreading, you're like, you could set like a timer for 15 minutes. Like, I'm going to clean the bathroom in 15 minutes. This was her tip in the video. And you just clean your bathroom for 15 minutes. You clean as much of it as you can. And then when 15 minutes are done, you can stop if you want. But I can guarantee, like, the minute you start, like, you're going to want to keep going. Like, if you're not done, you're going to want to do more. It's just like with studying. I used to be like, I kind of did that. Not exactly like a timer, but I would tell myself, okay, I don't really feel like reading right now because when you have a history degree, you have to read a lot of books. I'd be like, I don't feel like reading. I really don't want to. I just want to do something else. Like, I want to go for a hike or I want to take a nap or something. So I would tell myself this: okay, you can read for like an hour, and then after an hour you can stop. But you know what would happen is at first I kind of would have this reticence to wanting to read the content, and then once I got going, by the time I realized an hour had went by, I often wanted to just keep reading, and I would finish and I would reread. Because with a history degree, sometimes you need to reread things just to really understand the content very well. That was another thing that one of my friends, who was my roommate, did in college too, because we were both history majors. Like she would read, okay, like the assigned reading before she had went to class for the lecture, and then she'd go to the lecture, and then she would come home and reread the chapter again or the assigned reading, and she'd be like, "Oh my gosh!" She'd say to herself, "Ugh, I just read this," but she said it was a really good strategy that kind of helped to reinforce the material and help you engage with the material and kind of think about it more, you know. And I'm not a student anymore. I haven't been a student for years and years, but I just love history, and you can be like a student of the world and what's going on. So that's kind of like what I do. Like if I want to learn more about like what's going on in Iran or anything, like I can read some news articles about it. Or if I mean, I've read books about Iran, but there's not a lot of current books out there. Well, there's a few that I've read. Um, Actually, one book I was gonna say that you should read. It's a biography. It's called The Wind in My Hair. I would recommend that one if you want to know what's going on in Iran right now, since it's in the news a little bit. It should be in the news more. Anyhow, I guess I'll stop prattling on, and I guess it's time for me to go to sleep soon. Have a good night.